Greece. What isn't there to love about Greece? The food, the weather, the little white houses with the blue doors. But what about the things that people don't tell you about Greece? What about those things?
And she goes, no, come. I give you cash. I give you 64 cash, but you tell no one. And she's like this, Bri, you tell no one about this. I honestly felt as if I was in like some sort of heist.
In this week's show, we're going to share with you exactly what's happened to us on our 20-day stint on the Greek island of Paros and let you see what Greece is really like.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we bring you this podcast from the island of Nausa. Not the island of Nausa.
The island of Nausa.
The island of Paros in Greece. In the village of Nausa on the island of Paros in Greece.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's kind of a town, really, but we can call it a village if we want. Yeah. Fishing village. Yep.
So excited to be back with you. We promised you that we would be bringing you to Greece, and here we are.
Yep. And we're going to give you a quick rundown of how we got here.
We have got such a good show for you.
Yes.
I've got so much to tell them. I've got a Greek tragedy. I've got a Greek love story. I've got a Greek, tax evasion story thing. There's lots to tell you. I'm going to tell them all.
I'm going
to tell everything.
We've been here for 3 weeks, so we've got a lot to tell you.
So much gossip to tell you.
4 weeks, actually, in Greece.
If you're new to the channel, we're Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We are Kiwis. We're born in Britain. We moved to New Zealand 13 years ago, and we are currently on a 6-month road trip around Europe.
Yep.
And taking YouTube audiences with us.
Yeah, we said we'd bring you with us, and we have. We did it in a vintage. I say vintage. People go, it's not vintage, but it's a 205
Who
classic.
said that? Who said it isn't
Someone
vintage?
said it's got to be 1950s to be vintage.
Did they? Mind your own business.
Yeah, I was born in the
vintage.
60s, so I'm vintage. So there you go.
If you're old, you're vintage. That's it. Yeah. Go on.
But she's an old girl. She's 30 years old. So 205 Peugeot 205 GTI 1.9 for all you buffs out there. Rated the best hot hatch of all time.
Her name is Hot Hatch. By the way, people keep
Racy.
saying on the YouTube comments.
On the tube.
What's the name of the car? We just call her Hot Hatch. That's it. Just call her Hot Hatch, don't we, Brian?
Yep, she was. That's what she is. Yeah.
Right, let's give you a quick whistle-stop tour of what we have done since we left Italy to where we are now. Okay, let's go,
So
Brian.
we left Bari on the ferry, which is right down the heel of Italy, straight across to Patras to Athens.
Right, okay. So we get to Athens. We spend one night in Athens, had a lovely meal on the rooftop there. We stayed in a great Airbnb. It was just me and Bri. We had a lovely meal, sun going down. And then the next day, we drove to the airport where we picked up our kids. And Sunny and Tessa's boyfriend, Finlay, are all here to spend a month with us in Greece.
Yep. So we spent a week in Athens. After a week in Athens, a place called Khalifa.
And you're going to say what we did in Athens? Just quick, what did we do in Athens?
What did we do in Athens? We went to the Acropolis.
Thank
we
you.
went to some fantastic Greek restaurants. We went to the best souvlaki place
Tell you about that in a minute.
on earth.
Yeah, tell you about that in a minute. Move on.
With the best people. After that, we did a few more touristy things around. Can't really remember where we went to. The Temple of Zeus and all those sort of things. And
it's all Zeus, though, isn't it?
Yes, it's all about Zeus. All those Greek gods.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
When I go to anywhere in Athens, I'm like, I bet Zeus would have lived here.
Yeah. Like, where's Mount Olympus?
Anyway, then we got the ferry. We drove down to the ferry and we took our bags and our kids and our friend and went over to the island of Paros.
Yeah. So we couldn't basically get everybody in the car, so we had to get an Uber.
Yeah.
For the kids.
Yeah, we
and
did,
all the bags in the little car.
And we have been here for 3 weeks on this island. We're staying in the most gorgeous little room in the town of Nausa.
Yes.
Up on the hill. And we've just spent the days at the beach. We've just been eating at restaurants every night. Oh, we came here we came here many years ago, 30 years ago.
33 years ago.
Yeah.
But you came 34 years ago. You came here 17.
I came here when I was 17 and I worked the summer. I was living in England. I came over here with my cousin and worked the summer in a taverna. And ever since then, we would come back periodically. And then the last time we came back here was when Sonny was only 1. We left him with my mum and we came on a holiday together 20 years ago.
Yeah, we just sold a business, so we needed a bit of time just to recoup ourselves, didn't we?
And we were dreading thinking, because like when you have this you have this romantic vision of somewhere, don't you, that you go to when you were younger, and you're like, oh, it was lovely there. We had such a good time there. And secretly, Bri, I didn't tell you this, but I was actually thinking, what if we get there and we just hate it, you know?
I was thinking that because the last time we were here, it had changed quite a bit because they'd just gone into the EU and I don't know, it just like exploded, didn't it? This place, didn't like, you know, there was like, they built a water park and silly things like that. And
I'd bigged it all up to the kids, you know, we'd been in New Zealand. I was like, oh, you're going to Greece? And they're like, oh, tell us what it's like. And oh, it's beautiful. It's little white houses. Everyone just walks around bare feet, you know, a bit like New Zealand, actually. Yeah. And oh, it's just like long, hot days and long, hot nights. And I'd really bigged it up. So I was thinking, please let them have a great time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, I'm going to tell you all about it. No.
I mean, the thing is, the White Houses have to stay because we looked it up in 1974. The Greek government made it law that you had to paint your houses white and blue.
It's cheaper though, isn't it? Whitewash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Can't beat a bit of whitewash, bro.
Yeah, it used to be lime wash, but now it's like nice paint.
Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to tell you a few things that have just stood out to us about Greece, and then we're going to just tell you some things that have been happening. Yes. Yeah, so the first thing that I noticed about Greece, if you've never been to Greece before, there are so many cats, and I've never noticed that before when we came. Did you?
No, I didn't. Well, you say that we probably just didn't really notice it like that. But when we camped here the first time, me and you together, we had a little cat, and we actually called it Alice, didn't we?
Yeah.
A little ginger cat.
We were one of those weird couples that didn't have children, and we were like, oh look, this is our little baby. Oh, this is what it'd be like, look, Bri, if we had a baby.
There you go. On that point.
Oh, are you crying, little kitten? Oh, get used to it. No, so there was cats, but what I'm saying is I have noticed, well, we've all noticed, they're not just loads of cats, they're just loved by the Greeks.
Yeah.
So in Athens, all around the streets, like there's little tins of cat food and little cat biscuits
it's just
out.
Crazy, and cats sleeping in flower pots and things like that. It's so lovely to see.
It is.
They're just so relaxed and chilled.
If you're a cat lover, you should just come to Greece because honestly, I've never known a nation of people adore and look after the stray cats as much as I have Greece.
Yeah.
Have you, Bri?
Yeah, they don't sort of go in the house, do they? They just live out because it's so bloody warm here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different in the winter, I don't know, but you know, at the moment it's 32 degrees and it's boiling. That's centigrade, by the way.
So that's the first thing. So yeah, that just really took us by surprise. The second thing that sort of happened that I just thought, oh, this is a bit of a turn up for the books, Bri. We're drinking ouzo.
Yeah.
Ouzo, yeah.
I used to absolutely hate ouzo at one time because, you know, and even like Pernod and Ricard and all those sort of aniseed flavoured drinks. But and I remember seeing years ago it was an ouzo and octopus bar, and I just thought, oof. But it's great. Nice. I'm really enjoying it now. Yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm getting an old fart.
Well, this is what we're trying to work out, right? Because now we're trying to be all sophisticated. Well, I am. Brian chucked his in this massive big glass with loads of ice and water.
Yeah, but when I used to work in France, I lived in France and worked with a guy, and that's what we used to do. We'd, at 5, 6 o'clock, whenever you finished, but more like 6 o'clock, you'd go and have a pastis, which is like ouzo.
Right. I think ouzo should be taken small and little cup.
Yeah, but you like to like clang it back.
No,
that's why.
I don't. I'm sitting there clanging it back. I'm sitting there sipping it like sophistication. And I like it just a nice little slim glass and a couple of ice cubes and just take my time. And you're like, oh, loads of water. Anyway, but I used to look at people who drank ouzo and I would associate it with like Greek men, you know, sitting there with their worry beads and a glass of ouzo.
Yeah,
Did
you
you,
don't
Brian?
see so many worry beads anymore, do you? We did see some the other day, didn't we? Yeah.
But now we've taken to it. So, and the bliss thing is it's so cheap. It's like we just went for 2 ouzos before, didn't we, Brian? Yeah. After the kids had gone
and
home.
You get like a good measure about that big, don't you? Yeah, and you're sitting there overlooking the beach and everything. It's just gorgeous.
And it's good for your digestion as well. That's what I'm saying. It's a very healthy drink.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the ouzo thing. Moving on to the food, right? This is the other thing that has totally and utterly, it's flabbergasted us, especially in Athens and here as well. But the kindness of the Greek people when you go to their restaurant They keep bringing you out, like for instance, we went to this souvlaki place.
And these aren't touristy places, so we're not near the Plaka and things like that. With the Plaka, I keep saying the Plaka, it's just an area where there's lots of shops and things, and it's
the foot
kind of
of the
oldie-worldy, and
Acropolis
it's just like the Acropolis.
So we avoid all places like that because we can't afford it.
Yep.
So we just go to the cheap places.
You just go where the locals
and pretend we're really cool.
Yeah, and it's just, you just get to meet the real people, don't you? And it's just, they're so happy to sort of see you. As if like, why are you eating in my place? Why did you choose here? Because it's not a TripAdvisor or anything, is it? Like, you know.
But we went to this little place down this side street, and this guy was frying souvlakis, and the souvlaki is pork that's been marinated in olive oil and lemon juice and oregano and salt, and it's just, it's so good. You can either have it on a stick or you can have it wrapped in a pita bread, which is called gyros. And we went there and we ordered, like, we had the kids with us, they're starving, like, you know, and we ordered about, I don't know, 20 pieces of it.
Yeah, but you have about three. You have about three each, don't you? Because they're €1.50 each, and they're this big, and that's just, they're only about this square, aren't they?
We're sitting outside eating it, and he kept looking out the little window. He was like cooking and looking out this little window, and he'd keep coming out and bringing, like, he kept just putting it down on the table. This is gift. This is gift.
A plate of chopped up
cucumbers
with salt and like a dressing that he was putting over it.
A big basket of bread, waters, fries. And you know what the really cool thing is? And you've got to remember this, right? Sonny, our son, who's 21, he texts his friends or whatever they do, you know, to communicate on the walkie-talkie. Oh, we're at this restaurant in Athens and we're getting free gifts. And the friend, who's a bit older than him, I think he's about 35, said, oh, be careful because they do that. And then what they do is they whack it on the bill at the end. Yeah. And I said, and so he told me, and I'm like, let's just have a little bit of faith in humanity, shall we? Let's just see what happens. Yeah. Did he, Brian?
No. And even the last night that I went there, we went to get a takeaway because we wanted to get a bit of an early night because, we had to catch an early ferry the next day. Or I think we were going out to a concert, weren't we, or something? Yeah. And, so it was after the concert, that's what it was. It was like just before they were closing. And he was so pleased to see us again. And he just said, we sat down outside because we ordered takeaway, and he brought two bottles of beer out. And I said, I can't drink it because of the old gluten intolerance and stuff. I said,
I can't drink beer.
Yeah, and he just said, I'll get you some wine. Brought me out 500 ml of wine. Oh. And he just said, this is very good wine. It was like decanted into a plastic water bottle, like, you know. And it was really nice. We just sat there and drank it, and then, he cooked all the food for us. Took about half an hour. And then we walked back home, but it was so nice. And he said, "Where are you from?" And we said, we're from New Zealand. He said, "Oh, I cook New Zealand meat on my grill."
Oh, they love it if you say you're from New Zealand. Honestly,
absolutely. It's just like it's the best meat.
Yeah. Everyone in Europe that we've met, if you say you're from New Zealand, they love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. They
look at you a bit funny because you haven't got the Kiwi accent. Well, obviously Liz says I have got a Kiwi accent.
Oh, you have. I say this young man's from Taranaki. Can you tell? And they say, oh yeah, I can hear the twang.
Hear the Naki twang coming out.
Oh, and by the way, talking about accents, get this. Where we were staying in our Airbnb, we walked back one night and there was some lads coming out of we'd hired an apartment. The Airbnb was an apartment, second floor apartment. And underneath, it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We've been staying up really late.
Yeah, but everybody eats late.
I know, we've changed our body clocks completely.
So late. People don't start eating till 10:30 at night.
I know. And to be honest, I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's amazing, yeah.
It's my biggest gripe with New Zealand is eating it. Restaurants closing early. Anyway, so we go back to the Airbnb and there's all these lads piling out of the flat underneath. And they thought we were Greek, so they didn't say hello.
Because we had a bit of a suntan with like 4 days of suntan.
Yeah. And they came out and I just went, oh, hi. I went, oh, I just did it then, Brian. Did you see what I did?
Yeah.
I went like this. I went like that.
You did what? Lift to the eyebrows. Hi. How's it?
And he goes, oh, you're English, or you know, I thought you were Greek. And I was like, no. And Brian said, we're from New Zealand. And he went, no way. We're from Australia. And do you know what Brian did? He went, I'll see you later, mate. And just walked away, just turned his back and walked down the street. But the guys were like, ha, 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 ha. They thought you were so funny.
Yeah, but it was funny because they realised it was a bit of, it was, they knew it was a joke snub. Like,
they did. They just laughed their head off. And I just wanted to remember that to tell you because there's a couple of people on this channel because Brian's always having a bit of a go at the Aussies.
Yeah, but it's just a nice bit of banter, isn't it?
But
like,
some people don't realise you're joking, Brian, and they're like, stop being mean to the Aussies.
Some people are just too serious.
I know. But what I wanted to say is this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is Australians taking a joke.
There you go. For a change. Yeah. Not normally.
good nature's Australian. So I thought I'd give you a big shout out to Australia and to tell you that we love you.
Yeah, and these guys are from Melbourne, so cool.
Go
cool guys.
Australia.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Before we get into the stories, I do need to just tell you a little bit of truth about the food, Bri. Shall I?
Yeah.
About the portions.
Oh.
Shall I?
Yeah, that's a good portion.
No, I do. You know how much I like my food, and I felt. Okay, so here's the thing, right? This never happened in Athens, by the way. Never. And it's not very much happened. That's good English, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not very much happened. That sounded a bit Cornish there.
Yeah,
It's not very much happened here either.
Yeah, a bit of Wurzel Gummidge coming out now.
But if you go to the touristy areas, right, in Greece, and this has never happened anywhere else, and they hear that you're a tourist and you're not obviously Greek, they give you a smaller portion food, don't they, Bri?
Yeah, because you had some calamari the other night, didn't you? And probably 12 or 13 pieces.
Yeah.
And the person next, single person on his own.
Greek,
obviously Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
ordered the same thing. Out it comes piled up.
Twice the size.
Oh, I just thought, that is so cheeky.
Yeah.
Cutting back. And I just said to Bri, can you imagine doing that in New Zealand? Can you imagine being in a New Zealand cafe and you walk in and you're, I don't know, French or whatever, you don't speak Kiwi or what, and then like, oh, well, I'll get, just give them one piece of bread
just a
for
tourist.
the breakfast.
Yeah,
You just wouldn't do it, would you?
They might do it in Queenstown, you don't know. But.
No, you just wouldn't do it. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like, why?
I know.
I'm hungry, just give me lots of calamari.
It's the same amount of money, you know?
But I think that's just a touristy thing. And when I said to Bri, when I used to work at a taverna, and I know this is a fact, because, and I don't want to upset any Greek people or anything, like I say, it's only happened a couple of times.
Only in a few places as well.
Yeah, in the touristy places.
In the touristy places, when you think, you got to take the kids to that area, or, you've got to eat here because, hey, it's like, this is what you can get at this place, and it's just like,
But when I was working at the tavernas when I was younger, I would take out like baskets of bread and stuff, and the owner would always say to me, do not serve the Greek people. And I'd be like, why not? And he said, no, I serve the Greek people, they get more. And I'm like, what? So
there you go.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you
straight from the horse. Oh, I've said that before.
You've said that already.
From the horse's mouth.
Freaking, who is this horse?
Straight from the donkey's mouth, that one.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I want you to know that, because I'm really aware that, I want you to know that if you are thinking about coming to Greece, flipping come, because it's gorgeous.
It's a time to travel again now. Really get out there.
Love it.
France, Italy, Belgium, all been brilliant to travel through at the moment. Absolutely loved it.
And all the Greek people that we've met, apart from that one that wouldn't give me enough calamari and I was still hungry, all the Greek people have just been. They've just been lovely.
They're super
so
friendly.
Nice, aren't they, Brian?
I had to get the wheels balanced on the car and took it into a little garage. I've been walking up and down this street in the non-touristy area, obviously, just where the normal people live, as such. And I thought, I'll go over there and ask him to balance the wheels. Turned up in the little car,
Hot hatch.
Go in, see the first guy, and then say good morning to him. Do you speak English? And he's like, no, but the guy in there does. So I walk into this little tiny office. He's on the phone. He looks at me, he finishes his phone conversation. Do you speak English? Of course I do.
Oh,
I'm like,
I love that.
Brilliant.
I love it when they say that.
And it's like, listen, when I'm on the autostradas or the peages, I've got to do 130k an hour, and the car's shaking away like, oh no, we will sort it for you.
Oh.
And then they started to balance them, and they wouldn't balance up, and they got them out. They took the tires off, repositioned the tires, and then he came over to me and said, "Has this car been stored?" And it's been stored for a year. I bought it a year ago, and it's been stored. And he went, not a problem, we will fix it. And they readjusted all the tires so they didn't have to put such heavy weights on. It took them an hour to do it, and everything was perfect. And I said, how much? And he goes, thinking it's going to be like 50 euros or something. He said, 20 euros.
Oh.
And I just thought they were so, and he brought me a bottle of water because I was sweating because it was so hot, and it's just like such nice people, you just think you're going to get ripped off, but you don't, because again, and they seem to just know what they're doing.
Tell the truth, Brian. If you were like on a job and if you were on a building site, let's just pretend you're doing a job on a building site, right? And you're putting this really expensive heating system in, and it's got to be finished by 5 o'clock that night, and you're sweating, your boys are working hard, and you're really stressing out to finish the job, and And then all of a sudden, you look at the opening of the building site, and there's a little car there and a couple of little tourists like this. Oh, and they go, excuse me, can you help us balance our, whatever they needed doing. Can you help us balance our wheels, please, on our car? It's going to take...
Jump the car.
Pardon?
Jump the car.
What?
Jump the car, jump start the car.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But would you stop and help the people?
Would. I always like to help people in need. It's just like Boy Scouting you, isn't it? Like, you just want to help.
Were you a Boy Scout?
No, I wasn't. Well, I was actually. I was a boy. I was a Cub Scout. I wasn't a Boy Scout. Dib, 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 and all that.
So you would help?
Of course I would.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Kiwis are great for helping out, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but I'm not asking you.
Yeah, but yeah, I would help. Definitely, I would drop tools and go and help them.
Would you?
Yes, I would.
All right.
Because there's nothing worse than being in a different country, and you can just see they're just panicking, like So you just help out.
Yeah, I must admit, so would I.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It makes you feel warm that people are like that, and they're so sort of pleased to see you, that tourists are actually, or people are visiting their country again after what we've been through for the last few years.
Do you know what? I want to tell you about a Greek love story now. A little story about a Greek love story. Went down the beach today, right? And I'm telling you this because it's restored. I kind of thought that this stuff was over within that generation, and this is why I'm telling you this story. Guess what, Brian?
What?
You know, when we were down the beach today, and Brian and the kids and Finn all went up to the taverna for a little ice cream or ouzo, whatever you were up there having. They left me on the beach on my own, little sad loner on the beach. And you know when you're on the beach and you're sort of like, oh, just have a little listen to what everyone's talking about. And I was on my own, so I didn't know I was English, so I could just pretend that I was foreign. I didn't understand. Anyway, so I'm laying there on the beach on my tummy with my hat on, pretending I'm minding my own business.
This has got a little boom microphone that she zooms in on people, I think, headphones on. And it's
YouTube. Anyway, there's this big gang of girls laying behind me, English. And they were only about, 20, maybe a bit older, 22. And just all they just look like they're on their holidays.
I remember seeing those girls. They look like English girls, didn't they? Little red faces.
Yeah. Anyway, these two lads walk over, these two Americans, strapping over like this. And they go...
Yanks?
Yeah. And they go, oh, hey girls, sorry to interrupt, but I just wondered if you know anywhere... Sorry about my American accent. If you know anywhere to go to a club tonight. And the girls go, oh, actually, we've only just arrived, so we don't really know of any clubs. And they went... Oh, really? We've just arrived too. By the way, I love your accent. And honest to God, it was like, oh, thanks so much. And he said, do you mind if I take your number and we can just keep in touch? And they're like, no, Charlotte, where's the phone? And she goes, oh, it's on charge. And he went, oh my God, did you just say on charge? And the girls go, yeah. And they go, that's so cute. And the girls are like, why, what's wrong with that? And he says, we just say charging our phone. And all this little banter was going on while he was chatting these girls up, and they were liking it. And they swapped numbers. And I just thought, oh, Bri, it's still going on.
I know. You just think it's all stopped.
Going on.
But the trouble is they don't keep talking because that's the excuse, I suppose, that you can just swap numbers.
No.
Or what's your Instagram or what? I know, but it's just keep on with it.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I had it in my head that, that all that has stopped.
Nobody
that's what you used to do, isn't it? Guys used to go up and chat girls up, or girls used to go and chat guys up. And I was thinking, oh, what a shame that don't do that anymore. Now it's all Snapchat.
Get to Yanks. See, bloody Yanks when they came over in the war. See, that's what they're doing it again.
stealing
our women.
Oh, and I just thought, I almost wanted to go up, and they walked away, and the girls went, oh, they were really nice, weren't they? And she went, yeah, and and they were like, let's call them tonight. And I almost wanted to go up and pat the lads on the shoulder and go, good boy, well done for being brave enough to go, because that wouldn't have been easy,
That's what it's all about, yeah. It's having the guts to do that. No, that's it, yeah.
So how nice is that? There's still this romance going on the island of Greece that, it just made me feel really warm inside. And I just thought, I loved it,
Yeah, it's nice
I really
to see
loved
stuff like that, isn't it? Because most people are just like,
I know.
Don't even look up,
do they? And I don't know if that's because they were American and they were brave, but...
Yeah, I tell you what has changed. It's like everybody rides around on little quad bikes now, and not motorbikes, because obviously they're a little bit too dangerous, the motorbikes. But it's 9 times out of 10, it's a woman on the back. Might not be, and they just have the phone out. And it's like,
That's because they're bored,
you're
Brian.
going around the Greek islands and something like that.
Like, yeah.
And you're
that's
all
'cause
like this.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
you're like, what have you do? Just look around.
No, because what it'll be is, oh, is he turning left or right? Where are we supposed to be going? And she's probably just thinking, oh, sod this.
Yeah.
I've got better things, got bigger fish to fry.
I know.
Where's that yank on
Was
there?
that American? You would have got a car.
So what else did I have to say? So that was the love story. Oh, the tragedy. Yeah, now this is a bit of a tragedy, Greek tragedy, this. And I've got to be serious because this is sad.
It was very sad to read,
Yeah,
wasn't
it was.
Yeah.
So we went, do you want to say, we went out the other night, didn't we?
Yeah, we went out the other night. We went out to a place called Lefkos, which is the highest village on the island. And it's quite high up, and there's a beautiful sort of valley that you're looking out to sea and everything. And it's, it is literally up in the mountains. A sort of very ancient old sort of town. And on the way back, we just sort of we'll head out and go for a little bit of the long way home. And then as we were driving down through this valley, we could just see this glow over this. It's almost like Mount Taranaki. It's a real sort of pointy hill with a little church on top. And it was just this orange glow on the other side of it. And it was just like, oh, is that fireworks or something? Or is that the moonrise? Then the closer we got, you just realised that's a fire, like, you know?
Yeah, well, we came around the corner because the kids were all like, what is it? What is it? Is it a firework? Is it, what is it? Because literally, it was like someone had like spotlights on the mountain.
Big orange
spotlights. And we were like, what is that?
Right from the back of it, you
and
know?
we drove around and it was just on fire, this whole side of this mountain. And it was weird because it was like a line, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just the wind was about 45, 50k. So it was a really windy night, a really warm wind. And it was just fanning the fire. And you could just see like
so scary.
Olive trees just exploding almost and catching fire. And then it would just like come over a stone wall and just push through. And it was almost like a walking pace. That's how quick it was going.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. I know they have terrible, terrible fires in Australia and things like that, but seeing it on the telly is a bit different than actually
seeing
there.
something like it. And not only that, all the locals that were on the road, you know, either some of them pulled over just because they were rubbernecking like us, but there were people just walking down the roads with big shovels and everything.
I know, yeah.
Just to go and help. But I mean, they've only got about 4 fire engines on the whole island. Because it's not a big island by any stretch. It's big enough, and then there was next minute there's JCBs coming down the roads, and anyone who had a digger was just turning up to obviously go and try and sort of plough a line through as a fire break to stop or a fire stop to make it stop it going through.
Yeah, there was little
houses there. And
yeah,
all
well,
sorts,
I was going to say there was a little church right at the top. Thankfully, it didn't get to that. And there was a house within distance.
Within
You'd be terrified
200
if that was your house.
Yeah, 200 metres.
And they were getting all the people out and then bringing them down the mountain. There was a real sense of community and help.
Yeah, and just shouting going on. And you could just hear it all, you know, the action. And I was just thinking, where are they getting the water from?
I
to
know.
put this on?
And I was thinking, please rain, just rain. Because it had really rained the day before.
The day before it rained, it's like a sandy rain. But, you know, it's just like, it's horrible seeing it. It really is. And you know, your heart goes out to people like in California where all those fires were and Australia and stuff.
Fire,
And you just, you know, when you see it on the news, you don't really, you're just like, oh, it's bad. But to actually see it happening, it's just
But
like,
you know what? Just as a side thought here, I couldn't help but think this. You know, I just thought, because we were there and we were watching it, we were far away and you could still feel the heat.
Feel the heat, the smell. The smoke was getting blown over the top of us because it was so windy, but you could still, you know, you could feel the ash falling down. It was just like,
But when we were planning this trip, so many people told us, oh, don't go, you know, the war in Russia, you're going to get bombed, it's so dangerous. What the hell are you doing going to Greece with your kids? That's just dangerous, you know. And then, oh, COVID, you're going to get COVID if you go to Italy and so many people, so many things that people said, don't go. And I just, as I stood there, I thought, imagine if we'd been staying in that building in an Airbnb and that fire and we'd been asleep. You know?
Yeah, because you go up into the mountains, you can see they've had fires over the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of olive groves have been destroyed and stuff like that. And you just see these black sticks sticking out the ground and everything.
Yeah.
But, you know,
it just makes you realise that you can't plan for everything. You can't live your life in fear. I mean, you've got to be sensible, obviously, but you can't live your life in fear because you don't know what's going to happen. You know, who could have said that?
Yeah, well, what you're trying to say is you don't know what's around the corner.
No, you don't, Bri.
That's
and
what
you've got to.
You just think we were going to come next year, and we just said, you know, it's been a hard
Life's
thing just
short.
to go like, yes, we were going to go. It has been it was a big decision, but I'm so glad we made that decision to come over and do these things, like, you know.
By the way, let me just chime in and just say that we are doing these videos every 2 weeks for YouTube, but we are doing also weekly audio podcasts on our It's a Drama podcast channel, where we're talking about things like, you know, how we've afforded to travel and the cost of places and just how we're feeling. So
we haven't taken 6 months off. We are working as we
justify
no,
yourself.
but I'm just saying, you know, people go, oh, how could anyone take 6 months off? Well, we're actually working. But
don't lie, Brian. You're laying on the beach all day with your ouzo at the side of you.
This is a 3-week
and
holiday.
I'm spying on people.
But still, you know, we're still doing 2 or 3 hours work in the mornings and stuff, aren't we? And then we go out.
But anyway, I don't know why Brian said that to you, but anyway, sign up for the, if you're on YouTube and you haven't yet signed up for the podcast, which is an audio podcast on your favourite podcasting app, go and sign up for that, because then you won't miss our audio ones. Because I just thought then we've talked about the cost of things in another
so just
podcast.
check it out on Spotify or, you know, Google Podcasts or, you know, TuneIn or whatever it is, you know, Apple Podcasts. Just check them out. It's a drama podcast, and out we come.
Anyway, going back to the fire, we stayed there. You know, when you just think, you feel so helpless, but you stay in there because you almost want to see if they can put it out, or you want to see what's happening. And it got to like, I don't know, 1:30 in the morning. And we were just so tired, and we were like, look, come on, let's just go, and we'll come back first thing in the morning and just check it out then. And we came back to the apartment and we'd locked ourselves out. We'd left the keys. Brian had left the keys in the room. And
I don't know why I get the blame.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I said to Liz, pick the keys up on the way out. I'll go and get the car. But hey, Liz says I left them in there. So
it was just like one big messy night, wasn't it, Brian?
It was, because it was just like, you know, you just been seeing that, and then you'd come back, and then it was like, and I'd made friends with some tradies up the way because they were renovating an apartment up there, like, you know, and it's gorgeous. They took us through there and showed us and everything, and they were still out.
They were having a beer, weren't they, out on the balcony?
Ouzo, actually.
Oh, it was a boozo.
Yeah, and I just sort of went and said to them, you know, on Google Translate, I've locked myself out, and they, you know,
I'm a silly Billy.
Yeah. Liz has left the keys in the in the little thing that, you know, turns the power on and off, you know. We actually did try and climb onto this balcony.
Oh, we were trying to break in, weren't we,
But
Brian?
you can't get through the door because it's a new door, like,
That's
you know.
good security.
Very good security.
No burglars in our room.
My arm got scratched trying to get in and get the handle back
and we
up.
had to go down to reception and knock them, and it was just like 2 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And, it was
they're up about 6, 7 o'clock, aren't they? And you just think, oh, and he just came out, and he was so nice, and he was trying to look through the bag of keys to find the spare key, like, you know,
such
and then
nice
let me
people.
in, and then,
mind you, saying that, Bri, she hasn't brought us any clean towels since
we haven't had clean towels or toilet roll for 3 days now.
No, I think she's punishing Brian. Women don't like to be woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, Brian.
No, not when they've got to get up early and we're still snottering around in bed.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Snottering around in bed, that's what my dad used to say. Get up out of bed.
Saying that.
Stop snottering around in bed.
I hate it when you say that.
What a horrible thing to say to kids. But it worked.
Yeah, it was true though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what snottering
Tell
means.
me the time. What's the time?
It's like half an hour.
Have I got time to tell them about my about the criminal? About my
criminal?
Yeah. About my bag.
Oh,
about
yes.
my bag
Yeah,
buying.
Liz bought a leather bag.
Yeah.
Go on.
So I went down to Parakia, which is like the capital of this island, the main town, the main port.
The capital.
Yeah,
yes.
it is. It's the main town.
Nausa is actually bigger than Parakia.
Is it?
Yes, it is. But Parakia
anyway,
is more like...
So I went down to the island's capital, which is the biggest
capital in the world.
Town in the island. And what it is, it's gorgeous, honestly. It's little windy streets, and it's got a paved, almost like crazy paving in Greece, isn't it? Like, you know, they have that white...
It is crazy paving, and they paint the grout in between.
Yeah, and all the shops at night are all lit up, and it's just so beautiful. And all the shops you go in, like the leather shops and the jewellery shops, clothes shops, whenever you're looking in there, they always say, the owner of the shop will always, if I say, like, how much is these trousers? And she says, 75, but for cash, 60. Or, you know, there's always a cash price. So it's just something you take for granted, isn't it? It's like, if you've got a bit of cash.
There's always a bit of barter and a bit of cash going on, isn't there? Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been thinking, I'm in and ahhing about whether to buy myself a bag. And I've wanted a Greek bag, a nice leather bag for so long. And for some reason, I can't find one in New Zealand. I just never find what I'm looking for. And I had my eye on this leather bag.
Well, you can find it. It's just twice the price. That's all it comes down to.
No, to be honest, Brian,
really?
I've never, it is twice the price. But I'm just saying, I've never found, a bag is a very funny thing.
But you wanted like a Greek leather bag,
Yeah,
which is like
that's
quite
what I'm
hard
saying.
to
It's
leather, isn't it?
it's a very personal thing. It's got to fit right. It's got to hang right. It's got to just have the right strap and the right flap and all the rest of it. So I found this bag, and I went in one Sunday and I said to the woman, "How much is it?" And she said 70. I'll do it 60 for cash. So I was bearing this in mind. And when I went back a couple of days later, there was a different woman in the shop. So I'm there trying the bag on and looking in the mirror, and I said, "Oh." So she said, "Oh, it's very nice. It looks very nice on you." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, €70 is good price. And I said, "So how much for cash?" And she said, "Oh, no, the same price." And I thought, "Oh, hang on a minute, lady. I'll take 10 pieces of calamari, but I'm not taking €10. I'm not
It's cost
paying
me
the price for that."
€3 to get this money out the bloody ATM.
So I said, "Oh no," I said, "Sorry, oh, sorry about that." But the lady who was here before, she probably got the sack for this. The lady who was here before said she'd give me €10 off.
What time was she working?
Yes, exactly. And she had her hands in the till, caressing the money.
For cash.
And she said, and she goes like this. She goes, "No, come." And she drags me over into the corner of the shop, and literally, I mean, she's a good actress. She goes, there are people outside and they looking for the tax." And I said, "Sorry, looking for the tax?" And she said, I go to prison for this." And I said, "Oh, what?" I said, "No, it's fine." I said, "It's absolutely fine." I went to put the bag down because I'm a tight ass, and I just thought, no, I'm not paying €70, even though this is the bag that I worship with my life. And she goes, no, come. I give you cash. I give you 60 for cash, but you tell no one. And she's like this, Bri, you tell no one about this. I honestly felt as if I was in like some sort of heist. I felt
I felt like some people in a cupboard upstairs and you're doing something
wrong.
wrong.
I'm not joking. When I walked out, the goodliness of having my new bag that I loved and adored, it was kind of tarnished because I was kind of like this, walking out the shop, looking over my shoulder.
Waiting to be, you haven't done anything wrong. You just bartering, aren't you?
She was telling fibs, Bri, trying to make me as if like, oh yeah, you've got a good deal, which all right, I had. But I give her a due, like I say, good actress, so that was good. But they're good at acting, the Greeks, aren't they? Because that's where acting comes from, is Greece.
Well, it is. That's the home of theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, and she certainly was playing her part. But I was thinking afterwards, and I said to Brian, "Can you imagine in New Zealand? I don't. This has never happened. But can you imagine like going into a shop and going, 2 cappuccinos, please, mate. Ming at our cafe, who works at our cafe. Oh, €7, please, Liz. Well, how much for cash? You just wouldn't do it.
They just look at you funny, don't they? As if like, well, the F-bus machine's there, mate. Just swipe the card.
Have you ever offered cash for
in New Zealand? It's just, I don't know. I never really.
You wouldn't do it.
I've never really seen cash like that because it's like, I don't know. You just have your little F-Boss card.
Yeah,
you can go buy something for $2, and it's fine to put it on the F-Boss card, isn't it?
I do like thinking that I've got a bit of a deal, though, Bri. There's nothing better than
India is probably the bestest place to barter for in the world.
Yeah, they love it, the Indian people.
I give you the bestest price.
They're almost disappointed if you don't haggle.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, right. So that was that, and it's getting dark now.
It is. Sun's going down.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance to come here, Paros, 3-hour ferry from. It used to take 12 hours, but they have these amazing ferries now.
Yeah, super
you can
fast.
make it in 3 hours. It's like a catamaran thing. And it takes cars as well, and trucks and everything.
Yeah.
They're huge, but they do. I think I GPS'd it at 70k on the water.
See, this is why women look on their phone when they're on the back of the bike, Bri, for that very reason.
Yeah, I'm like that on the ferry. And you're like, put your phone down. No, we're doing 70k. They had to, we were expecting that we can just go and sit on the deck. We all had to come in off the deck.
I know.
And I said, why have we got to go? And she goes, it's a high-speed ferry. And I'm like, really?
Well, the last thing they want is you toppling over, isn't it?
There you go.
Little legs in the water.
Where's my car?
Right, we're going. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all your lovely comments and for being here with us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you. Yeah.
So,
and next time, where will we be next time, Bri?
Next time we're going to be Oh, I don't know.
I don't know
might be
where we'll be.
England.
I don't know.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll be in a different place next
Yeah,
time.
we've got to go back through Italy and France. So hopefully somewhere on the way, hopefully we might do it from the French Alps somewhere, which would be great. A place called Briançon. That's what we're heading for. It's got Brian in the town, so that's where we're heading.
Yeah, we should do a podcast from that. That would be really
Briançon
nice.
and Montgenèvre. There's a ski season that Liz did in Montgenèvre, so we might do Montgenèvre and Briançon.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be great.
Okay, until then, you lovely people, keep smiling, keep being you, and speak to you soon.
Yeah, so kia kaha, stay strong, kia u, stay true, and see you next time. Maybe even Venice. Who knows?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
When you think of New Zealand, you think of mountains and bungee jumping and adventure. Food isn't usually the word that comes to mind when you think of New Zealand. We leave that to countries such as Italy and France and anywhere in Europe, maybe India or Thailand, Japan. So what is New Zealand food like?
And then take it back out, fold it up
that's
and eat
gross.
it.
That's gross.
It's no different than jam at the end of the day, is it? But it's just a bit crunchy. But it's when you...
In this week's show, we're going to dive in and cover 13 popular foods in New Zealand and find out if they're delicious or dull.